Welcome back again to my YouTube channel. Please, if this is the first time you're visiting my channel, please support my channel by clicking the like, comment and subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you can get notified whenever we post a new video. The Venda South African culture. Venda culture has arisen from diverse origin. Many Vendas see themselves as traditionalists, but their culture has been very dynamic and adaptable. In the past, they control a vast area in the north of South Africa. Today, as a result of land seizure by white settlers in the late 19th and 20th century, and the apartheid policy from the 1960s, they are centered in the northeast, mainly around Louis Trichardt and Simbasa in Northern Province. Groups are also found in southeastern Zimbabwe. Fanciful theories has been used to explain the origin of the Venda, but recent evidence has revealed them to be an amalgam of groups. By the 4th century, modern Northern Province was occupied by Chieftains and early Iron Age people who interacted through trade, marriage and war. In the 7th century, the northern regions were occupied by Ingoma and Chieftains. From 800, the Mapungubwe Kingdom emerged, stretching from the southern Pemberg in south across the Limpopo River to the Matupos in the north. The kingdom declined from 1240 and centered of power and trade moved northward to the Great Zimbabwean Kingdom. A shift of focus to Zimbabwean Kaima and Zoe Empire followed, but the culture did not come to a standstill south of the Limpopo. Showan Venda and Venda poetry style developed in the 14th and 15th century. There are no stone-walled ruins comparable in size to the Great Zimbabwe in the northeastern part of Northern Province, but those in the mountains do show the link. Imprints on Venda culture. Although living among the Venda, the Lemba retain traits such as avoiding pork that shows their distinct origin. Some argue that the Lemba of Northern Province and the Zimbabwe are descendants of Arab traders who ranged between East Africa and the Zimbabwean plateau centuries ago. The Lemba themselves believe they are black Jews, descendants of the lost tribe of Israel. Whatever their origin, they played an important role as carriers of goods in pre-colonial iron and gold trading. In the past, no Lemba woman could marry a Venda man, and marriage of Lemba men with Venda women was rare. Should a Venda woman marry a Lemba, she had to undergo a ceremony to become a Lemba. This still pertains, at least in theory. Today, trade, warfare, and intermarriage with Songa, Lobedu, Zulu, Swazi, and other people have also left their imprint on Venda culture. The Venda were a protective people, many of whom still practice polygamy and worship their family ancestors. Members of different clans could, and did, live in any of the tribal territories, because the tribe was purely a political and territorial unit consisting of people who chose to owe allegiance to a particular dynasty. It was quite common to find a ruler attracting people to its own clan after his accession. There was no paramount chief. Each tribe was ruled by an independent chief, who had under him headsman, responsible for the government of districts within the tribal territory. Most of the chiefs belongs to lineage of the same clan, which crossed the Limpopo River and controlled those whom they found living in the Zupenberg in the later half of 18th century. Though there was an important social diversion in Venda society between commoners and the children of chiefs and their descendants. In the Simbasa district, there were 12 Venda chiefs. Some were the descendants of brothers who were the son of a ruling chief but broke away and established independent chiefdom elsewhere. There were a number of different in the custom of the various clans, especially in religious ritual, but there were no distinct difference between the tribes. Venda belief system. The Venda culture is built on a vibrant mythical belief system, which is reflected in their artistic style. Water is an important theme to the Venda, and there are many sacred sites within their region where the Venda conjure up their ancestral spirits. They believe Zwidutwane, water spirit, live at the bottom of waterfalls. These beings are only half visible They only have one eye, one leg, and one arm. One half can be seen in the world and the other in the spirit world. The vendor would take offering of food to them because the Zwidutwane can grow within underwater. One of the most sacred sites of the vendor is Lake Fundudzi. Suspicion surrounds the lake, which is fed by the Mutali River, yet not appear to have an outlet. It is also said that they can sometimes hear the Tshikona music and dance of the Venda culture. Various rituals are particular to the Venda and certain aspects are kept secret and not discussed with Westerners. However, it is known that the python dance conducted at the female coming of age ceremony is usually where the chief chooses a wife. Girls and boys dance fluidly, like a snake, to the beat of the drum, while forming a chain by holding the forearm of the person in front. Once a wife has been chosen, a set of courtship and grooming rituals take place over a number of days. The Tshikona is traditionally a male dance in which each player has a pipe made out of special indigenous type of bamboo growing only in few places around Simbasa and Tayodua. Each player has one note to play, which has to be played in turn in such a way as to build a melody. While the Mbila is still widely played by Zimbabwe in South Africa, it is only played by a few old people who sadly notice that most youngsters are disinterested in their own culture and let it die. Playing of the Mbila is one of the most endangered Venda traditions. The Venda style of playing Mbila is quite different from that of Zimbabwe or Mozambique. Drums are central in Venda culture and there are legends and symbols linked to them. Most sets of drums are kept in the homes of chiefs and headsmen and comprise one Ingoma, one Tungwa, and 2 or 3 Murumba. Drums set without the Ingoma may be found in the home of certain members of the tribe, such as a doctor who runs girls' circumcision school. Drums are often given personal names. Drums are always played by women and girls, except in possession dance, when men play them. The Tshikona is a royal dance. Each sovereign or chief has his own Tshikona band. Tshikona is played at various occasions for funerals, weddings, or religious ceremonies. This can be considered as the Venda national music dance, which is particular in Venda in South Africa. The female dance, which is usually performed by married women, is a festive dance sometimes played at the same time as Tshikona. Tshifashe is similar to Tshikombela but performed by young unmarried girls. The Mbila is played in north of South Africa and more particularly by the Venda. It can be described as a keyword made out of piece of wood, which is a resonator and with metal blades made out of wood nail hammer flat, which are the keys. The Venda people see themselves as traditionally, however they are dynamic and adaptable. Venda rituals. The Domba is a pre-marital initiation, the last one in the life of a Venda girl or boy. The chief or sovereign will call a Domba and preparations are made by the families for their girl to be ready and to be prepared when necessary to attend the ceremony. Historically, girls used to stay with the chief for the whole duration of the initiation. Nowadays, because of schooling, girls only spend weekends at the rural kraal. The position of women in Venda culture. Traditionally, Venda women did not have the same inferior position held by women in most South African groups. Within her courtyard, a woman had absolute control and in the past early women played an important role in education, telling their stories around the fire. Women could own properties, usually given to them by their fathers.